want to show us a little bit about vanilla JavaScript components and how we can use those. I just got VS Code open, index.html, a little preview of that over here. One way we can do that is to go ahead and have a place where we're going to put the code. We can put it in the main body as well. We're seeing our preview over here. I'm going to go ahead and have a body tag and a script tag. So you might know in HTML5, you don't need to have all of the rest of the tags. It'll automatically apply and default those to standard tags. So one thing that we do is everything in HTML is just strings. And so we can create anything in HTML just by creating strings. We can have functions that return those, and we can set them. So quick demo of that is we can replace the entire page that says blank page here with doing something like creating a variable called content. And we can put a backtick here and say this is some content, closing backtick. That's the JavaScript template variable syntax. So we have character returns in there, all of the different symbols, quotes, double quotes, etc., whatever we want to have. So put that in there, and now we can simply do document dot body dot inner HTML and set that equal to content. And we hit okay. Let's then all this. What's happening there? Yeah. Save that. It says this is some content instead of saying blank page. So this is replaced with whatever content we have here. But of course, whatever we can do in just a plain script, we can do in a function. So rather than having this just be let content here, we can create a function that returns this instead. So I'm going to do function get content, and we can instead go ahead and return all of this directly. And close, indent this. Now instead of just a variable for content, we can have a function. And in a way, this is kind of a component that represents our whole page. And that, and we're back to the same thing. So a function that's returning some content here. And we're using that, just replacing the whole thing. So this is our content component. It's returning a string. We call it, we take that string, we assign it to the inner HTML of the body, and we've got the whole thing. Now we could, within this component, we can have other components. We can bring those things in. So for instance, maybe one that takes a parameter, like greeting. And we can say it's going to take a number of who are we going to greet. And we can return, again, a string. So hello and period. But we want to do something with that name. So we're going to use that $ curly brace syntax to inject name into the string that we're doing. We can do the same thing over here, where we're composing this content. We have this is some content, and we could either concatenate the plus operator and call our greeting function there. Greeting, and pass in something like world, or who we want to greet. Or we could use that curly brace syntax. We have that hello world happening. Probably don't use the concatenation operator in most things, because mostly I use that same escaping into content within a backtick string. Even when we're calling functions, we can have that here. So we're back to working again with hello world. Prove that's working. We'll add some exclamation points, and as I do that, it's got that going on. So back to hello world. So we're starting with a blank page. We've got nothing in here. We could start with absolutely nothing. We've got a component called greeting, and a component for HTML and JavaScript. It's just a function that returns a string. And we've got another one for the whole page here. Let's get content. And it's just composing the whole thing with just regular text in HTML. And anytime you want to call a different function, you can just escape out with the $sign and curly braces. Might be familiar with any other template language, works the same. And the big advantage of doing things like this is that it's debuggable. We can set breakpoints and see what's happening. We can see the content, and we're getting a consistency because every time we're calling the function, it's going to behave the same way and create HTML. And certainly, if we wanted to improve the HTML here, we can just do a little bold tag around the name. Let's see, hello is here. And we can not clutter up our main sort of programming logic and page composition with seeing the HTML. We can even go as far as creating something like a function called bold and take some content that we want to display, and we can return a string which has the bold followed by the content followed by closing bold tag, and we end up not really seeing very many HTML tags in our final composed pages. So get rid of this tag here, and here where we're displaying the variable for name, we can go ahead and just say I want that bold like this, pass in the content, and we're back here and we've kind of hidden that name. Certainly we could do a lot of things here, like if we wanted to always greet people in all uppercase, we could do something like replacing the name with a name dot upper, perhaps. I have to look up what the string is. If I set a default here to a string, probably give me a little more help here. To uppercase, sounds good. And it's a method, so I'll call it there. Got the two uppercase. So our components can do some operations on their input that are there. They can just simply send it back to us, maybe wrapped in something like so. If we wanted to do some math or access some data, all those other things can happen. But of course, that's all plain JavaScript, and we're used to that being plain JavaScript. But here, what we're not used to is seeing that the body tag is just empty, and where does all our code come from? Well, ultimately, we set the inner HTML to put whatever it is that we want to have on the page, and that can be a function, and it can call one or more other functions, and cascading on down, and they can handle sort of the HTML for us. And we build up this sort of component hierarchy in any system like React or Vue. But one of the big advantages of the vanilla JavaScript like this is there's no build step. You can just execute it immediately like this. And you can convert all of this to creating static files or something if you ever did want to switch to server-side code generation, like with Node.js or Dino. All right, I think that'll wrap it up. I'll go ahead and stop the share, stop the program here, and now you know about vanilla JavaScript components.